Today is Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 45, Week 3.
This episode's titled No Man Left Behind. That's spoken by Sabaya. Did you hear Prop say previously on Survivor? I didn't hear that. I mean, we got the segment with the little recap.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I didn't hear it.
We were paying attention to the
We were looking for an Easter egg.
Easter egg. Yeah.
Or getting ready to look for an Easter egg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So previously on Survivor, Probe says Bruce does a lot of... Oh, no. They used their voices. They did recaps of them saying things, right? So Katurah was saying, Bruce does a lot of stupid stuff.
Name dropping, and he's just annoying to her core.
Yeah. To the point to where it seems like it may backfire on her at some point. It just has that feeling.
Could be.
I think there were some folks talking about that in last week's listener feedback. And then we get Kellie and Brando are in the middle. And then we get Austin, Dee, and Drew, and Julie. And Sabaya's got her no vote with her candles she can't melt. And Kaleb has nursed Emily back to health, it appears. And there was some trust established potentially with the old shot in the dark. Creative usage there on Emily's part. We're back at the Lulu tribe. It's night 5. And that's when we get the line, like almost right out of the gate. It's the first few sentences Sabaya says, where she says, in the Marines, it was no man left behind, but when it comes to Brandon, she's willing to change the rules. He's definitely got that Private Upham from Saving Private Ryan vibe. So she was happy to let him go. That one just had to be left.
And Emily
necessary, she said,
is very appreciative that they kept her.
And Sabaya says that she doesn't dislike Emily. She doesn't like her, but she doesn't dislike her. And she returned the shot in the dark. What did you think about that?
I thought it was the right thing to do.
I thought she would. I actually never thought that she would do anything but that.
I didn't either.
Yeah. But
I didn't see any point. I didn't think it would gain her anything.
Right. I liked Emily's line, trust returned, trust built. And that was like a mini theme, I think, in this week's episode. The development of the trust. Evolution of trust. We got to see that in different tribes.
We certainly did.
And Kaleb's certainly been impressed with Emily's growth, and he believes in her potential, he tells us.
That's because he thinks he healed her.
Nursed her back, yes, from the precipice.
Well, I was impressed that Emily figured out that, wait a minute, Jeff called it after 2 votes were read.
Yep.
He wouldn't do that if there were 4 votes.
I think that gave everyone pause when she dropped the needle on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they gave her credit for being smart and strategic.
Or they didn't understand the extent of her potential, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think they discounted her because of her attitude, but that didn't have anything to do with her intelligence level.
Well, when someone's being that self-destructive and undermining their own game, there's a tendency to think that they're not too sharp. But, yeah, she's definitely put them on notice with that one. Although Sabaya tried to cover and say that, well, she hadn't even realized that. She didn't pick up on that.
Mm-hmm.
She said it definitely gave her pause, too, though, right? She says, Emily's on my radar now, for sure.
Well, and then Emily asked her if she had a vote.
And she promptly lied.
Yep.
I voted. Kaleb was impressed. He said Emily is on the case, although he's concerned because she's still picking fights.
Yes, and he's like, she's still the same old Emily underneath.
That attack vibe is right there under the surface waiting to crawl back out.
But he tells us he'll be more honest with her than anyone else will be, which wasn't saying much at the time. but
Right.
Maybe it'll help later on in the game.
I got to say, once again, really, I think the 90-minute episodes are paying off. We had great tribe time in the episode tonight.
I agree.
So I
Yeah.
enjoyed hopping around and checking everyone out. And so the next, they bounced over to Belo. And this is a 2-day cycle. So it's day 6, day 7, everything happens on. And Jake is huffing and puffing and trying to
Yep.
get that fire to go. And then he stands up and,
Duh.
yeah, exactly.
He hyperventilated.
Yep. Said he saw stars, and then he started shaking. I'm more interested in Kendra's reaction. Go ahead, though.
I did that as a stupid kid. Mm-hmm. Me and a group of my friends would deliberately make ourselves faint, and that's what we would do. We'd breathe hard and heavy, and then I think we would blow on our thumb, or just not blow on the thumb, but just stick your thumb
The
in
pressure.
there. Yeah,
Okay.
and then you would just keel over,
Oh, we just spun around in circles.
and the others would catch you.
Yeah. All right. Interesting.
Yeah, I thought, okay, yeah, I did that. Mm-hmm, I did.
Kendra picks up on it right away, though. And I think that might have been the spark that caused her to reevaluate. It was vulnerability. It wasn't like he was doing it intentional, but he didn't know what had happened to him. He wasn't
I don't think
completely
either one of them did.
completely present. Yeah, it kind of gave her pause, too.
But she jumped in and helped him.
Yeah, she was there, and like her nurture comfort side kicked in, and so they end up talking, and she even tells him that he was targeted because he was a
'cause you were
lawyer. Yeah,
But she thought, he may be a good ally for me.
yeah, and so she said she started changing her tune on Jake there. He could be a good ally. But I'm wondering how much that factored in. You know, we have these subconscious things that we can do. Like reciprocating, someone gives you something and then you feel like you want to give them something back, and
Yeah.
there's all kind of human nature type responses that you have, and it was almost like his frailty triggered something in her and she responded, and then all of a sudden she's viewing him through a different lens. He's not a scary lawyer that's going to talk circles around her. He's a guy that doesn't know what just happened to him,
He's vulnerable.
and he may need her help.
That's right.
Boy, he could have really cinched the deal if he had just asked her to do some work, or asked her what.
Some advice?
Yeah, something like that, or come up with some astrology angle for her to work for him.
Okay, now you're getting a bit carried away.
Okay.
Okay, over to Reba. Austin says he's hungry, but he also needs to find that idol.
Well, and they had found a couple of worms that they were going to eat, but it turns out the crab they had in the same pot ate the worms.
Yeah, okay.
So I wonder if they caught the crab in the crab trap that they had. I wonder if it paid off. I was hoping we would see something in extra clips, or something along those lines with all that gear they got, how that paid off, other than we did see one, but the only thing we saw was they speared a couple of tiny fish. But I was thinking maybe they were eating high on the hog.
Maybe.
There.
But doesn't sound
they
like
were-
it
they
if
were
he's that
hungry,
hungry.
right.
So, okay, now Austin is having a hard time getting time alone by himself. So I guess he decides, well, better do it with Drew. So they go out and
Make a
they're
plan.
gonna look
One will
for
be
it.
on the lookout. The other's
Yeah,
going to dig
yeah,
at the X where the palm trees have fallen and made an X. But they are not having a lot of success.
No. And Dee and Julie happen by.
And they bust Drew.
Yeah,
He did not
totally.
manage that for all his big talk
He didn't hear him coming.
and his big plans.
He didn't hear a thing.
Well, I guess Austin failed to begin with. He didn't spot him because he was off actually getting some coconuts to have actual cover for the work that they were doing. But he missed them coming in, or they came in from a different area.
I wasn't playing very well, in other words, I don't think. But boy, was Dee impressive.
Yeah, I thought so too. That's formidable. She was able to suss all that out that quick. Having that, because Julie seemed oblivious. She just didn't pick up on any of it, and Dee had this big read on it.
Well, and as soon as he sees them, he walks away. He reacts. He didn't
Yeah.
keep his cool.
No, he is not cool under pressure.
But at least he recovered quickly. I saw Sifu
That was good.
digging
I like
and,
that.
And
Yeah.
we're checking out, wasn't it? And that was a believable story.
Yes.
But Dee was still not totally convinced.
Well, because he hadn't shared that with her.
Right.
And Julie. So there was definitely reason to
and
not.
She's reading them like a book.
Yeah, something's still off.
Something's off. They're keeping something from us. They're nope.
You got cheating boyfriend vibes, Drew. So she's on to you.
Well, and she tells them flat out, we want to make sure that we're 4 strong.
Yes.
Here. And, seems
Build the
like
4,
you're holding something
invest
back.
in the 4. Yeah, I like that. I like all that.
I was very impressed
2
by
challenges.
her.
How ironic. They changed the back-to-back challenge rule, and then they give us the next episode, and there are 2 challenges. So the famous you can't sit out back-to-back thing would have been in effect normally.
Well, it was in effect anyway, because whoever sat out in the last challenge last week couldn't sit out in the reward challenge. So it was in effect there.
Yeah, I think you missed my point, but it's not important. So
I miss your point.
They start in water, and they've got to do one of those classic throw the ball up onto the ramp. It rolls to the other end, and you got to traverse an obstacle course and catch the ball when it falls off that ramp.
Which is easy for some people and almost impossible for others.
Definitely took
gotta have that
a minute to do that
ability, I guess.
And then they take one of the balls, throw it into a basket, which tilts up 3 prongs that you got to throw and land rings on to win. So finally, something without a puzzle. It looks like Lulu has a shot. They're potentially in the running.
And whoever wins gets a large fruit basket.
Yep.
Yum. And they get to raid one of the losing tribes.
Yeah. And when he said 1 item, I thought he really meant 1 item. Like one thing, a pot or a machete.
Yeah.
And you immediately went to flint. It's like, well, let me just take your flint.
They don't have any flint. Take their flint.
Yeah. But
yes, you'll get it eventually, but it's been 7 days.
Turned out that was something else. Yeah. And then small fruit platter for
second place.
Second place. Yeah.
Yep. So Jay and Drew sat out for the red tribe. Jake and Bruce for blue, and everybody else had to play.
Yeah.
And boy, Kaleb got his ball, Sean got his, Sabaya got hers, and then Emily fell.
She face planted, yeah.
Yeah.
But they were doing good. Definitely doing good getting through there.
She stumbled, almost fell, went forward, fell backwards, and still didn't catch it.
Yeah. But there's definitely some other folks that were struggling in that too.
Yes.
Like you said, some
Julie couldn't throw the ball up there.
Yeah, some seem effortless. Even Kaleb missed it, his first shot up. I think Austin did too, trying to get it because the end of the ramp close to where they start
I didn't think
was
Kaleb
covered.
did. I didn't see it. I didn't see that if Kaleb
You'll get to see it on the second time we watch.
If you say so. But I thought Kaleb was...
Kaleb nailed it on the first shot was the basket to flip the ring holders up. So he hit that on the first shot, just like I think Austin did too.
Okay. Well, we'll find out when we rewatch. And Katurah was falling, but she finally got it as well. Mm-hmm. Lulu's in the lead on the rings.
1, 2, 3, and it was done.
Yep.
He made short work of that.
Thanks to Kaleb.
Yeah. So they finally win something. They're just over the moon there, ecstatic. And then Austin comes in and cinches it for Reba. And then Brando swapped in just before Austin finished it off for Kendra. She had been missing with the ring toss. And Brando came in and started throwing. But by then it was over. Belo had lost their first loss. Thankfully, it's just reward. So they left it a big mystery which tribe was going to get raided, and they went to commercial.
Yes, they did.
I liked this twist. What did you think of it?
I liked it too.
This idea of helping forge relationships. Mm-hmm. I felt like they really put some work into this, just like with the advantages, the beware advantages.
Mm-hmm. They gave them the goodwill advantage.
Yeah, so you could recoup a lost vote. Brilliant. That works.
Yeah, and make friend and try to build some trust, because if you give somebody something that's valuable in the game, well, it doesn't mean it will get you anything, but you have a lot better chance.
It often doesn't, but in this type of a scenario, this is big. It actually gives the raider something to work with, so they potentially don't just leave with something they've taken and lots of resentment. So this, I liked it.
Well, it's a good thing that he didn't choose to go to the Blue Tribe because Kendra wasn't having it.
She was going to lose
He could
her.
have been in trouble over there.
Yeah. So we see him show up at the Reba camp, and that they gave a big positive reaction, but he seemed to really be clicking and vibing when he was just talking to everybody.
Except Drew was ready to totally be against him. He knew they were going to send him, and, he was ready to...
Well, Drew said that he knew that Kaleb was running the Lulu tribe and that he was very charming. And we see some of Kaleb's charm when he's talking to all of them back at their camp, and he kind of gets Sifu and Jay to harmonize.
Yep.
That was a
But he knew he was going to try to schmooze him.
weird riff.
Which he did, and I think he did it very successfully.
He totally seduced him. Yes.
He's like, oh, hey, look what he gave me. So why do you think he told him about his advantage? Given what he was saying, and, he's going to schmooze me and blah, 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 why did he tell him?
Kaleb's got some charisma. Because Kaleb asked him, hey, did you get anything when you went? Because he knew he had gone. Brandon told him that Drew and Bruce went.
Well, once you've told your whole tribe, it'll get out. If there's
maybe
any
that was part
tribe
of it.
swap, it'll get out. So you might as well not lie. But
Kaleb was dropping those compliments, but Julie, she picked up on it. She was appreciative, but she's like, oh man, he is just a sales monster. He is the sales machine, sales bear, whatever she called him there.
Well, he knew to have some fun. That anybody's going to relax their guard and all of that if you can do something where they're having fun or laughing or, you don't go right in and get business.
It was impressive.
It was.
She was totally on to him, and the others probably were too. I had no doubt that Dee was too. But the compliments worked to a degree.
And I like the way, we're going to take your fishing gear,
Yeah.
but we don't want to leave you devastated. We're going to leave you the spear because we don't want to do that to you.
Plus, they had two. They had two masks, two fins, two Hawaiian slings. So I think I would have left the mask and the fins too. I don't know if he did. But that was the kind of the twist. That one thing ended up being that whole reward. He potentially had access to everything they had won in the fishing gear reward when they got first place with that.
Yep, but Julie had his number. Boy, he is a player. Though, if he ended up on her tribe, I bet she won't play with him.
And Drew chose to share again, at least with his alliance, that he had gotten that, what was it called? The Goodwill Advantage?
Goodwill Advantage,
Yeah,
I think.
and so Austin's thrilled. He's essentially got his vote back.
Excellent.
Yeah. And once more, it appears that trust was built.
Well, that Drew said that's why he shared it, and he made certain that Dee was there, not just Austin. I don't know if he shared it with the whole tribe, but he definitely shared.
No, the four. It was the four.
Yeah. He definitely. Oh, I didn't even see Julie there, but I just saw Dee and Austin.
It's a good tactical choice to share with them, I think.
Yeah, because Dee is already suspicious, and she let him know that. So.
Yeah, he got it for free. Now he gets to use it to
she is definitely watching you.
Rebuild some of that trust he might have lost with her that he's picking up on.
And I think it probably worked.
Back at Lulu, they're enjoying them some grapes and other fruits.
I hope they didn't eat it all up from Kaleb while he was talking.
To save him some, yeah.
Save him some.
Sean's thrilled. Finally, we're winners.
And this is an Emily he can work with.
Yeah, he says she's calm. This is nice.
Well, she's got food. And they won, so they feel better about themselves.
So it's looking like Sean and Sabaya have got a good alliance because he's telling her, I'm with you.
Well, were you surprised? We really thought that was going to be a red herring, that she wasn't really after Kaleb.
Yeah, we had that next time on Survivor where Sabaya was talking to Emily, and it looked like they made it seem like she was saying they were going to vote Kaleb out, but I thought it had, it was, like you said, a red herring. It was something else altogether. So.
Well, it certainly shocked
wasn't.
Emily. No, it wasn't. That really did surprise me.
Yeah.
Because, yes, he was very impressive that day. And they're like, whoa, we don't want to go forward with him or up against him. I thought, well, why not? Because people would target him before you.
Yes, you're misreading it again. Yeah, not only that, but he can be the key to you winning for a change, don't you? You're just commenting on how nice it was to win.
You're never going to win with him, without him.
Yeah.
I don't think they would. So I thought that was a bad move myself. And that, yes, he might have a really good social game, but I was questioning hers by then.
Made Emily's head spin.
Yes, it
like
did.
You said, she was shocked, and then she noted that Kaleb had been kind to her and acknowledged that he's a huge social threat, and he doesn't seem to be aware of the threat level he's presenting.
No, because everyone's aware that he is running the social game, and I don't know if he knows how obvious that is.
All their Jabic work before the game began with regards to Kaleb has been accurate. Yeah. There's many of them that were wary of him just because he had that charisma before they could even talk to each other.
Well, even Emily's like, I don't think he has a clear perspective of how he's being viewed.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he would stop being so social and kind of dial it back a little bit. But I think that's just his nature for
back
the most part.
To the Belo Blue tribe.
The men are going fishing.
Yep, going out to fish.
And they're loving it.
Jake said he's having a great time. And the ladies, Katurah, Kellie, and Kendra are taking advantage of their time together too. And Kendra shares about the Jake apology. You know, he apologized for not having any strategy talk with her, not being more social in her direction.
You skipped over my most fun part.
Oh, sorry.
Jake saying that he was the boss down there because there was nothing bigger than him. And I thought, that you've seen yet, and
Right.
you better hope you don't.
Yeah.
Because there are things down there bigger than you.
Yeah, and it looks bigger. I remember when I was doing my certification dive, and we were at some Navy station, and there's just tons of wildlife. And then these two barracuda came by, and I wasn't ready for how big they were. You know, to be in the water with something that big, and they swim with their mouths a little open so you can see all those huge jagged needle teeth. That definitely gives you pause.
They look bigger underwater anyway. They warned us when I was on vacation in Bora Bora once, and we went out on this little boat and a group of people, and it was a tourist thing, and they just put this rope in the water, just across the water, and they said, don't step beyond this. Put your masks on, and we kind of went underwater, and they warned us they're going to look bigger, but they were going to feed sharks. Mm-hmm. And they were feeding the sharks literally on the other side of this rope. And they looked huge in the water, but, you know, sometimes you even pull up out of the water just like, huh. But I remember how much bigger they looked when you're underwater with them.
So Kendra tells us Jake is not a target now, and Katurah takes advantage of this little opening. She says, every little negative thing that someone mentions about Bruce, I magnify it. I focus on it and help draw attention to it in hopes that we can target Bruce.
I'm glad they're talking about that stuff. And, you know, and Kellie's letting us know, not my first loyalty's to Brando. I got to talk to him first.
Yep, they're still solidly in the middle, so she wants to touch base. And was it Brando? Yeah, I think was it Brando or Kellie that said Katurah's scary? Somebody said Katurah's scary when they were talking.
Brando.
Yeah.
So,
And hard to read, I think he said. Yeah.
Well, that's probably what makes her scary is he can't read her. So maybe he's picking up the attorney side of her, and he just doesn't know it, what he's getting. Okay, back over to Reba, and Jay is singing or meditating, or I'm not sure what she's doing, but she's doing something. Austin tells the girls that he found a beware advantage, but he lied about when he found it still.
Right.
But he figured he better fess up and tell them, so he couldn't tell them how long ago he found it or they wouldn't trust him, so he had to tell them he just found it. Though I can't believe they bought that, because it was hidden underground. It's like, oh, come on. They were digging underground when all this started. So,
Yeah, they didn't.
I'm not
give
sure
us,
they
didn't give us
bought
the deep
that.
perspective on that. So that's what you really needed to hear. She's already suspicious of them, but they've got something to do. It's work that they can focus on. So that I think that helps.
Well, the thing is they can't find it. They need their help. That's the only reason he told Drew, since he couldn't find it.
Right.
Now he and Drew can't find it.
So they come up with a plan. They're going to have somebody babysit Sifu and Jay while they're doing their searching. And like you said, Dee ends up finding a rope, which was cool. So Dee and Julie follow that to the next step, the next sequence of events. So the rope led them to a hammer, and the hammer on the side of it says they got to go use the hammer to break a rock at the well.
I thought they were going to hide it and use it themselves.
I did too. I immediately thought that they were going to go over there, and I thought, well, these two have got it. They're gonna end up with the immunity idol right here.
But then they were just hiding it from Jay.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. They were just hiding it till they could give it to Austin.
So Austin and Drew head over to the well. They're excited. And then they start smacking rocks and end up with an immunity idol. What'd you think about the twists on this?
I liked it.
I did too. This idea that you can take a risk and you get more reward. Take another risk, get even more reward.
Yeah, I like that twist a lot.
So it could be an immunity idol that's good for one tribal council, but if you go to that the first tribal council after you found it, and you choose not to vote, you don't write anything down, now it's an immunity idol good to the merge.
Yeah.
When you all come together, when everybody's together the first time.
But if you go to your second tribal council and you still withhold your vote,
it's a full power.
It's a full till final 5.
Yeah.
And that's even way more valuable.
So I am liking that aspect. This was the Probst, you got to earn it. This makes you earn it.
However, it may not work for everyone.
True, but at least the option's there. I like it. They had to work to get it, and then they've got to work to power it up to full power.
I was referring to later on.
Okay.
So, all right. I liked it. You liked it. I liked several of the things.
She said they're building good alliances. They got a tight 4. They got proven trust. Again, a deeper trust is evolving.
Yes.
And they're putting the work in. They're cultivating it.
So we should have known that they're going to switch up the tribes next week, huh? Okay. Off to the immunity challenge. Still day 7.
Yep. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to everyone. He doesn't usually do that.
He doesn't mention time of day normally.
Yeah. And, well, he always used to say, come on in, guys.
Yeah.
But
he messed that up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. So they give the idols back, and I liked Jake. He does throw in a little humor there every once in a while.
Yeah, he's trying.
I'd like to exchange this for the bigger one, Jeff.
For the larger half, yeah.
So he does have a sense of humor.
So I like this. They got this big cart. They got to race the cart out over some obstacles.
Well, they got to get the keys first.
They got to release 2 keys, and the keys release puzzle pieces. They put the puzzle pieces on the cart, and then they take it over some obstacles, and then they disassemble the cart and move the cart and the puzzle pieces through the obstacle, reassemble the cart, and then get over to where they can finally stack the puzzle pieces to solve a 3D cube puzzle. On Reba, we have Julie and Dee sitting out, and on Belo, we have Brando and Kellie, the 2 in the middle. Kaleb gives a best of luck to each of the other 2 tribes.
That was very nice of him, still trying to schmooze.
He's making connections. Yep, reaching out.
He's good at it.
Cost him nothing. Yep.
That's right. So they released the pole and knocked the key off.
Well, Sean had a good bit of trouble with that. It put Lulu behind.
He did, but he finally got it.
Struggled with the first one, and then he got a little better on the second one.
Belo was in the lead.
They did really good getting the cart through the obstacle. Reba got all jammed up.
Yep.
They made a mistake and put some pieces through that blocked and made it harder to get the rest of the pieces through.
I know. It was like Lulu's in second.
That was a surprise. Yeah.
And Emily ends up being the caller for Lulu to kind of give an overall view of the puzzle from a little higher up.
Yeah, Emily, Kendra, and Jay had a little higher advantage to look at the puzzle from.
I'm not sure if it helped anyone, did it? I couldn't tell if that was making a big difference or not.
Yeah, because everybody could see the puzzle, they just didn't have the height advantage those three had.
Right.
So maybe with some assembly, although I'm sure Drew saw the top of it just fine. Oh, yeah. So he didn't have any trouble seeing the top of it. But for the others, because you could get some alignment clues from the pattern on the top, I think. So that
there were some on the
helped them.
Side facing us.
That was away from the people up on the
sure
pedestal. Yeah.
If it was on top or not. I have to go back and look at that. But
so it was a pretty big cube.
Yeah.
And it was one of those that you had to really think about how the pieces assembled.
And once again, Reba comes in first, Belo comes in second, and Lulu loses again.
Emily was just, at first she looked distraught, and then she looked angry.
She said she was angry.
When Probst asked her later, that is what she confirms, yes.
I'm angry. It's like, okay, but that doesn't make it any better.
Well, and she was angry at the others for celebrating so loudly and enthusiastically, knowing they hadn't had to go through the emotional challenge of going to tribal council. They hadn't had to experience any of those feelings. And she had cause for concern, having been a previous target.
Yep.
She could very likely still be on the bottom. She was aware of that. She knew things hadn't changed that much.
I really liked that, not so much that Sabaya wanted to go after Kaleb. I thought it was way, way too soon to make that move. I would have thought. But I really did like how she handled it with him once she told Sean and Emily and everything that she's like, okay, you tell her it's me and I'll tell her it's you. So that covers her, whatever anybody might say. If she's already told him, I'm going to say it's you.
Yeah.
I really did like that. And I didn't think he was going to believe Emily. I'm not sure what else she said to him.
He was pretty clear as he headed into tribal. He wasn't 100% sure on what he was doing. Yeah.
Yeah. But something must have convinced him along the way. And are we moving ahead to tribal?
Well, I guess what Sabaya discussed here was that she was going to drop the idol in the fire. So it turned out that was an option.
Yep.
The folks that talked about that last time, like Nicola and Jackson, and I'd seen other people wondering if they could do that, and so we were to find out that was actually viable.
Yeah.
And she brought utensils to help manage it.
And here's where Caleb's strategy paid off, is that Emily's like, well, I think Caleb's been honest with me and Sabaya hasn't. So her loyalty was to Kaleb.
Yeah. So his investment in her paid off.
And if it's not Kaleb, then it's her. So or if it's not Sabaya, it's her. So she had an incentive anyway. But she was pretty adamant in telling him, if you don't vote for Sabaya, you're going home.
Right.
And at that point, he didn't believe her that much, and he didn't think Sabaya. But I wonder if he started reading her language, But okay, let's go to tribal council because...
Sure. Nice big full moon, and Sabaya walks in and puts a candle in the fire.
Right
she played it right. What did she do?
She didn't ask.
She didn't ask, yes.
It's in the fire melting.
Probst is just, what's up?
Oh, you know he knew, but of course he had to ask the question.
Yeah.
But I liked her doing that. I liked how it worked out.
I liked her trucker tool set. She came prepared for managing things in the hot fire.
What I didn't like is her revealing that maybe we can use it in the future. So that basically told them that, you can vote me out tonight because I'm not going to play it.
Yeah.
So if you really want... She didn't for a second think they might vote her out. Or that Kaleb might play the same game she's playing. Or that, I don't think Sean would have told him, but she had way too much faith in Emily. I'm not sure why that was. But I guess it's because they had not shared their connection, Kaleb and Emily.
Right.
So she didn't know about that.
Didn't know to be on guard against that.
But as soon as she did that, I thought, uh-oh.
And Emily had worked to build some trust with Sabaya with the whole shot in the dark thing.
Yep.
Remember, Sabaya said she didn't dislike her.
So really, it wasn't that long of a tribal council, was it?
No,
Didn't appear to be.
there was some good back and forth with Sabaya and Kaleb and talking about why they needed to consider Emily. You know, she had made those harsh, Sabaya said she had those harsh jabs at her, and as the scroll container was cooling on the ground there at her feet after melting the candle. And
So that's what we were concerned about too. I thought it must have to be metal, so or it couldn't have been.
they took some extra precautions
cloth or
because it was
something.
meant to be melted by heat.
Exactly, yes.
So, yeah.
So it wasn't. They had to make it something that wouldn't just burn up. I liked it that she did it. She had it in her pocket, and Jeff immediately says, "Okay, let's vote.
Yep.
Let's see what you're gonna do."
And she makes her call. She does not vote, so she's getting an extension to the merge, so she not gonna play it.
Yeah, which of course makes no difference after the vote anyway, because it's still in her pocket.
Yep.
And off she goes. Bye-bye.
2 votes and she's gone.
And they knock out an idol right away.
Yes. Did you like her marine-like call and answer she did with Lulu?
Lulu.
Yeah.
Lulu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did kind
That
of
was
like that whole exchange.
She had a good exit.
She had a good attitude
Yeah.
about going out, and she
wasn't
was
bitter.
straight up.
Yeah.
They got me.
Yeah.
Okay, they got me. And I did like her attitude, but I didn't necessarily love the gameplay that she was doing. I didn't think she was as good in challenges as I thought she was going to be. Mm-hmm. And
They were having her move all the big heavy pieces in the puzzle, huh?
Kaleb said, "Sabaya, move that again over."
Right.
Oh yeah, sure, no problem, Kaleb.
She's Marine. She's used to that.
Yeah.
Move that dirt from this hole to that hole. Okay, now move it back.
It's like, yeah, well, I'm sure she might have had a few choice words in her head, but she was smart enough not to let it out.
I think we got an eye roll for the camera when that went down. Well, you have lost your USB.
I have.
Was this
and
tragic? Are you sad?
No, I don't feel sad.
Did it ruin the episode for you?
No, it didn't.
What did you think of this episode?
I loved the episode.
Week 3.
Actually, it didn't. It didn't have that impact because I'd already thought, oh, well, she's not playing the way I thought she would, and it's
That
not.
you had hoped for.
Yeah, it was different, and I really wished I had gone with D then, or my other choices were D.
You were definitely thinking that.
D or Kellie.
Yeah, you can definitely see how people who have D were
right
happy.
at the end, possibly Katurah, but I thought, she might rub somebody the wrong way. So, but yeah, I had settled on D for quite some time. Until I saw a lot of people were going to pick her, and I thought less people would pick Sabaya, but I was wrong.
That did not pay off for you this time.
It did not pay off. And so, oh well.
You have to start thinking about who your next choice is.
No, it's way too early to do that.
Yeah,
I have no clue
I agree.
Who it'll be
This was a good episode. I loved
was.
the tribe time. I loved seeing how people were trying to build trust, how the social elements were playing out.
Well, it's a
good
good
and the bad.
episode if you lose your USB and
You're okay.
You're okay. You're like, okay, well. That was still good, though. That was a good blindside.
Yep.
It worked out great. So, as a fan, I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. How about next time on Survivor?
Next time on, drop your buffs.
Time for a tribe swap.
But he made it clear that they were switching up the tribes. That wasn't merged, just switching up the tribe.
Emily's happy. Music to a girl's ears, she said. And it looked like she had on a blue buff, huh?
It looked like a blue buff, yeah.
Inside Out or something?
Yeah, it was very light, but I think that's probably where she ended up. Unless
she may be on Belo.
Fooling us. And then it looks like Bruce and Jake were wearing a yellow buff.
Lulu. And Jake's talking about jumping ship.
And Bruce is going to build some new memories.
And stab some backs or something like that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
it sounds like they might be the underdogs on Lulu.
That sounded like an oxymoron. But anyway, they both had on yellow buffs, so
And we're
assuming they're over there.
Dee, Julie, and Sifu are still on Reba.
Yep.
But Dee's saying, we got to pivot. And it looked like Sifu.
And we have to play now.
Yeah.
I guess they felt like they were coasting along because they were in the majority alliance. And
well, it's going to be 3 tribes of 5, and they've got 3. So they were going to have to play, but they still have the majority.
They might have made it clear to Sifu he wasn't in their alliance. And if they did, then the two...
Oh, then she was talking about her and Julie might have to be playing now.
Yes.
Although Sifu was there with them, and he was the one searching someone from Lulu's bag.
But I don't know how, if they haven't been working with him, if he was aware that he wasn't in on that 4 alliance.
Yeah.
If they were too obvious about that. And I think they would have noticed. Both Jay and he would have noticed.
Seemed like they would have shown him commenting on the friction, so he might not have been that clued into it. He might have been busy doing his own thing.
Well, and he might have seen this as an opportunity to stay in with, the other members of the Red Tribe.
Yeah.
So, but...
Exciting. I'm already looking forward to that episode.
Well, here's the thing I thought was interesting. Is you saw Julie, Dee, and Sifu. But Sifu, they were in front of him, but you could see he was holding a yellow bag, which makes me feel that either Sean or Kaleb, because if Emily is indeed on blue, it has to be Sean or Kaleb that's over there. And I kind of thought they were about to search his bag. Whoever it was, and that the girls were kind of watching out for them coming so Sifu could look through the bag.
Right.
So I thought that was the shenanigans that were going on.
Anything else?
I don't believe so. I think that's about all there was.
I'm excited.
Right?
I'm excited for week 4
me too.
already.
Me
See
too.
what happens with this shuffle.
I've enjoyed all of this, and I like the new twists. I liked having a new puzzle. I like the little twists on all that stuff they're doing.
Give us a stinker of an ending on the premiere, and then we're just thrilled to death for what comes next when it's better.
Well, it had to be up from that, from a quitter.
Yeah. Yep. Good stuff.
So,
how about a JSFL update?
I can do that. There are 6 people tied for first with 16 points. 40 people, including me, lost their USB. 47 people lost a safe point. And 28 people earned a vote-off point, including you.
Yes.
For the side challengers with 16 points, Rebecca is in first. With 14, you've got Jeremiah, Randy, and Stacy. With 13, you have Justin, Lisa Ray, and Robert. With 12 points, Parker. With 11, Drew.
Bet you Drew let his picks roll again.
Well, you better not let them roll another time if you did. Because 3 consecutive and it drops you.
It drops you, yeah. So be
and
careful.
You definitely have to sing if it drops you.
Yes,
no matter who else comes in.
Yeah.
If you get dropped, you automatically have to do it.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Good stuff. Well, you can tell we enjoyed it, and we're looking forward to hearing what you thought about it. That's what our listener feedback show on Saturdays is all about. Looking for your assessment of the tribes. What did you think about the tribe time? All the different social angles that we saw at work in this episode. Who's most improved? What did you think of that vote out? Looking forward to hearing all that and your predictions for who you think might get targeted next. It's always hard to do on a shuffle like that.
It is.
The voicemail line's 206-350-1547. Toll free 844-643-8737. The email is joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. You can record your own audio and send it, or type it up and we'll read it into the show on your behalf. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturday. We ask that you keep in that 3-minute mark. The sooner you get it in, the sooner we can get it ready. So that helps avoid the avalanche on Saturday morning. And we look forward to hearing from you. There's certainly an exciting episode to discuss this week.
I think so, too.
Yeah, and how it's going to play out.
All right. Good night, everybody.